everyone, I'm Jessica Stutzman and welcome back to the Millcreek Government Channel. Lighthouses are popular tourist attractions for photographers, historians, artists, and just about anyone who enjoys being on the water. As the gateway to both Presque and Lake Erie, we are fortunate to have 3 beautiful lighthouses in this region that have served as aids to nautical navigation throughout history. With us today to discuss our local treasures is the Executive Director for the Presque Lighthouse, Emily Butler. Emily, thank you for joining me here today. I am very, very excited to talk about the Presque Lighthouse. You have some very exciting stuff coming up. So I want to jump into it. The new tours that are being offered at all 3 lighthouses. Can you give us a brief description of how that works and what the cost is involved and what people can expect?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so we're really excited to be able to expand our offerings this year and to have different experiences for our guests. So previously, guests had a relatively limited experience. Everyone was able to climb to the tower, but we didn't have any sort of lengthy, in-depth tours. And because we have a myriad of guests, some people who aren't all that interested in the history and just want to climb the tower, so we will still have that experience for our guests. However, for the lighthouse enthusiasts, for the history enthusiasts, we are adding a 45-minute long, completely guided, in-depth tour of the Presque Lighthouse this year. That will be offered 2 times a day. The cost is $15 per person, and we're really excited about that. That'll give a chance to for the guests to really understand the full history of the lighthouse, and for our docents to be able to share their knowledge of the property completely.
And the docents who give these tours, where do they learn about the history? How do they, become well versed in this subject?
Yeah, so we're so fortunate to have a lot of volunteers. So most of our docents are actually volunteers. They've been volunteering with us for years, and they are in and of themselves lighthouse enthusiasts. So we do have a training program for any new volunteers that come on board who want to be docents. We do train them. We have pretty extensive research materials, and a lot of them, because they're so passionate about it, they do their own readings, their own investigation, and they've lived in Erie their entire lives. So they have a lot of that sort of inherent history and understanding.
That's awesome. So depending on which tour guide you get, you're going to get something different a little bit each time. So you might want to go back a couple of times and see if you get a little bit different, different piece of history offered during the tour.
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes a fully guided tour so special, is that the docents will really be able to kind of put their personality into it, and every docent will tell the story in a little bit of a different way and be able to cater it to the audience more.
Okay, and so again, let's just talk about the 3 lighthouses. Mm-hmm. Where are they located at?
Yeah, so the Presque Lighthouse is probably the most well-known, right? And that is on the north end of the peninsula, the Presque State Park. And that one is open 7 days a week throughout the season. And then we have the Erie Land Lighthouse as well. The Erie Land Lighthouse is located in the east side at the foot of Lighthouse Street. And that one is also open for this season. It'll be open Friday through Monday from 10 until 4. That one is just such a gorgeous lighthouse, and something kind of new to the city of Erie, as it was not previously open to the public for tours. So we're excited about that. And then the 3rd lighthouse is the North Pier, which is aptly named because it is located on the tip of the North Pier, mm-hmm. which is also located on the peninsula as well.
That's awesome. So people should, again, go check it out, take mm-hmm. beautiful photos in front of them. There is a lot of restoration work that has to happen every single year to maintain these lighthouses because they're quite old. When were these built?
So the Presque Lighthouse is actually celebrating its 150th anniversary this year of its finished construction. So 1872, the Presque Lighthouse. The Land Lighthouse, the version that stands today, is 1867. So they're pretty getting up there in age, but they're in fantastic condition from a structural standpoint. But absolutely, there's so much routine maintenance that needs to go in to care for the structures, and it is our mission as an organization to restore the structures to how they would have looked during what we refer to as their period of significance, which is right around the turn of the century in the early 1900s. So we just finished a pretty intense interior restoration project for the Presque Lighthouse. It was very comprehensive. Because that structure had been a private residence up until 2014, things were added to it as you might expect, right? There was a bathroom that was added downstairs. They had dropped all of the ceiling levels to make it easier to heat. They had put carpet down, vinyl flooring, just normal things that happen to houses over the years. So what we did is we removed all of the non-historic elements of the structure and returned it to how it would have looked in the early 1900s.
And a beautiful white fence was also added to the perimeter of the Presque Lighthouse. That was quite an undertaking, I assume.
Absolutely, yes. So that is a tight board fence, and its purpose would have been to keep the sand off of the lightkeeper's lawn. Yeah, so that was restored in I forget the exact year, but I think right around 2017, 2018. That was quite the project to do, because it used to be a really tall cyclone fence that needed to be taken out.
Sure. And so restoration projects, they are not cheap. What is your budget for all of these, and how do you raise funds for the restoration?
Yeah, so it's certainly not cheap. We just put about $70,000 into the interior restoration that we did at the Presque Light Station. So a lot of that money actually comes from our earned revenue. So tickets, when you come to the Lighthouse and you pay admission, your money is going back into the restoration of the lighthouse. We have a fantastic gift shop that also aids in our income generation. We have members, so becoming a member of the Presque Light Station is also a really fantastic way to support the organization and to support the preservation of the Presque Lighthouse and the Erie Land Lighthouse as well. And of course, we are always applying for grants and doing other fundraising.
And let's talk about that gift shop for a second, because I love shopping there. I love the local artists and the crafts, and again, the gifts that you can buy for other people for Mother's Day, Father's Day, special holidays. So can you talk about the gift shop and the hours?
Absolutely, yes. The gift shop is also open 7 days a week from 10 until 5. So that's every day all throughout the season. And we also have an online store. So we are in the process of redoing our website as well. And in that process, we are revamping the online store to have more of our offerings there. So even in the winter months, like you said, we have really fantastic gifts for the holidays and even off-season gifts. But yeah, our gift shop manager does a fantastic job. She's so creative. She really kind of leans into the nautical theme. We have a lot of ghost ship related items. So really a lot of fun things for kids. So yeah, it's a fun place to shop.
Cool, that's so awesome. So what kind of restoration work is going to go on? Is any going to take place during the season, or do you try to do it in maybe the fall, winter, and spring when we don't have as many visitors?
Yeah, so we do try to schedule that so it's not during our peak season, which is during the late spring, summer, even into the early fall. We do have some things planned though. The only remaining portion of the interior of the Presque Lighthouse that has not been restored is the kitchen, the summer kitchen way in the back. That is a little bit more of a bigger project, a bigger undertaking, something that we are going to be working with an architect to help us to design and bring that space back. So that is planned for the fall, so we're excited about that. And for the Erie Land Lighthouse, we have a lot of exterior work that will need to be done, so we'll be doing that in the fall, which includes cleaning all of the masonry and repointing pretty much the entire structure. So just routine maintenance.
Okay, and what does repointing the structure mean?
So in between the beautiful pieces of stone, there's a layer of mortar. So that is, in the preservation world, kind of a sacrificial layer. It's the layer that is incredibly important in keeping the building together, but it degrades over time. And the mortar degrades so that the stone does not. So as it kind of dries out and begins to crack, and it actually kind of begins to fall out of the building, those mortar joints need to be what we call repointed with new mortar. And that mortar actually has to be specifically tailored to the structure because historically they did not have sort of the marvels of building technology that we have today. So we need to be careful about the materials that we use to do this kind of work.
How incredible. And did you learn all of this restoration work, during your time here, or did you have previous knowledge to, how to maintain historical structures?
Yeah, so that's actually why part of the reason why I was brought on as the executive director is my background is in historic preservation. So prior to this, I had worked at other historic sites doing construction, restoration, preservation, and maintenance work.
Mm-hmm. And how do you find somebody, an architect or a contractor that is well versed in historic preservation? That must be hard.
It is hard. It's really hard. Thankfully, kind of here on the East Coast, we have a lot of very skilled craftsmen, and there are a lot of architects, even locally. Jeff Kidder is one who is sort of a local historic preservation architect, so he helps us out a lot. So yeah, they're not totally abundant, but there are specialists who work in that field. And also in terms of craftsmanship, even when you're doing work at your own house, right? Finding true craftsmanship is becoming more and more difficult. So we are fortunate to have located some really fantastic craftsmen that we work with on this project that will carry through and work through on pretty much every other project we have.
That's awesome. And so for the kitchen renovation, do you have any vision for that yet? Do you get input in that? What's the kitchen renovation going to look like?
Yeah, so the kitchen renovation is it's the summer kitchen, a place they would have cooked all summer long to kind of keep the heat out of the main portion of the house. So the vision for that is to return it again to approximately like the 1910s. We have very few images, really. There's like one image of that space. So it's a little bit of creative thinking. We do a lot of research into what the typical kitchen looked like in that era, and also going off of other lighthouses that were built around the same time, if they have any of their original kind of features. So that is how we will determine that. But we will have a traditional icebox, so a wooden icebox that will be put back in there, the old stove, and we'll also have sort of this basin-style sink that will be hooked up, that would have traditionally been hooked up to the well outside of the lighthouse.
I can't wait to see that. That just sounds so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some upcoming events planned at the Presque Lighthouse and the Land Lighthouse. I am really excited for these events. They sound really fun.
Yeah, so we have a lot upcoming. We're really excited about it. We sort of have a full season of events happening, and they're sort of broken into a couple different camps, right? So we have a couple of educational events that we have planned for the season, which we're really looking forward to. They're very family focused. The first one will actually be at the Land Lighthouse as a part of History Week. So we'll be doing sort of family focused history programming and things like that. Later in the year, in the summer months, we are going to be doing having a red, blue, and white summer fun at the light evening, which will be really fun. We're going to kind of lean into the picnic element of it all. Tennessee Back Porch will be playing, Underdog Barbecue will be providing the food, and we're going to have lawn games and things like that. So that'll be really fun. We're going to do a couple of farm to table dinners at the Land Lighthouse, and then moving into the fall season, we are kind of leaning into the spooky season, as it were, in October, and we're going to be doing some Halloween-themed kids events, and we're also going to be doing ghost tours this year as well, which we're excited about.
I'm going to stop you right there so we can really dive into ghost tours. I love ghost tours. I love eerie folklore. I love all of the crazy stories that have come out of, the lakes or, the, UFO sightings or this or that. So please dive into the Halloween and the ghost tour info for us.
Absolutely. So we're working with Eerie Unknown, which it's basically two local guys who are really into the paranormal, and they have all of their equipment. So what will happen is they will come and kind of spend some evenings and nights at the Presque Lighthouse, kind of assessing whether there is paranormal activity there, which we have heard kind of through the grapevine and through other people who have spent the evenings there that people have had experiences there, we'll say that. So we're going to have them do that. And then for these ghost tours, it's going to be a little bit of a balance between the paranormal experience, where you'll be with these two gentlemen from Area Unknown and see if you can have an experience while you're there. But we're also going to, the other portion of it will be sort of that fun history, all of those sorts of, the eerie local folklore, the UFO sighting on the peninsula, different things like that. So we'll mix a little bit of fun in there as well.
Okay, so I'm assuming we need to register for all of these,
Yes.
and I will be the first person to register for the ghost tour. So I will tell you that. But tell me, how do we register for everything? Are the spots limited? Do you expect them to book up quickly? How do we go about, being a part of these events?
Absolutely. So a lot of our events are free and open to the public, and there's really no limit to the amount of people we can receive, which is fantastic. But some of them, they will be reservation ticketed events. So the best way to do that, including the ghost tours, the best way to do that is to go to our website, which is presquelighthouse.org. And if you click on our calendar of events, all of the events listed for the entire year will be listed there. And within that calendar, you can also click the links to register and purchase your ticket and reserve your spot for the tour.
Okay, super cool. And you said the folklore section, is that geared toward adults or toward kids, and it's more family oriented?
It's definitely family friendly, but it's geared a little bit more towards adults, just because we are going to really kind of lean into the spooky side of things.
Right.
We will be doing a what we called last year Lights Out at the Lighthouse. With 2 nights of that, so that is the really family-friendly part of things. And kids and families can come, and we have several stations set up around the grounds where kids can do kind of a spooky-themed scavenger hunt. They get kind of a spooky story told to them. They can climb up to the tower at night. And then last year we had a bonfire with the DCNR education team out there telling kind of campfire ghost stories. So that's the more family-friendly event side of things.
Okay, that's neat. And so do kids typically come dressed up for those events, or just regular clothes?
Oh yes, a lot of kids came dressed up. Everyone who worked there that night came dressed up, themed as some kind of creepy, eerie folklore, maritime. Someone was Joe Roots. I sort of dressed up as a sea witch. We had a pirate, so everyone really leaned into the Halloween fun.
I love this. I am going to get into this.
Good.
Okay, and then so just moving along here, we have upcoming restoration work for 2023 as well. So what does the future hold?
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about the kitchen. That is sort of our most immediate item that we have coming up next. But we're also leaning into the Erie Land Lighthouse as well. So we have several things planned for that. I mentioned that we will be doing the repointing work. We are also going to be doing some other work to that structure as well. We're going to be repainting the entire top of the lighthouse, so the metal railings and things like that. Again, it just needs sort of that routine maintenance and care. And we'll be installing a railing at the bottom of the lighthouse as well for safety reasons, and to kind of have our guests have a little bit of a better experience. And then we are also going to be planning even bigger projects into the future as we kind of look to the grounds of the Presque Lighthouse, and maybe looking into bringing back some elements that were there previously.
Okay, cool. And if people, again, want to participate in the events, they should go to your website and whatnot, but what if people want to, watching this interview, and they want to volunteer their time? How do they go about doing that?
Absolutely. We love volunteers. We have about 90 volunteers in total, so the organization really thrives off of our volunteer base. We have lots of fun opportunities. So yeah, again, you could just go to our website, and then we have a volunteer page on there. If you go to the volunteer page, you can actually click a link there as well, fill out a very short survey that goes directly to our operations and public engagement manager, and then he would kind of reach out to you and invite you for a visit to see if it might be a good fit.
That's awesome. So cool. And again, if somebody wants to take a tour and climb to the top of the tower, what should people expect? How many steps are there? Is it really strenuous? Or I know I do remember walking it, and it's It's a narrow pathway. I do remember, again, I think I was like 4 months pregnant at the time, and so I was winded when I got to the top, but I did it. I was very proud of myself. So what's the experience walking to the top?
Yeah, so the Presque Lighthouse, it is very narrow. There are 78 stairs to the top. The last set of stairs is pretty much ladder, so it's very steep. It is a little strenuous. Most people are just fine with it, but if you do have physical limitations, that might be a little bit difficult for you. So we do have a video located in the house as well to kind of show you the experience of walking up the stairs and looking out at the view. So yeah, it's definitely a little strenuous. But people take their time when they get to the top. It's certainly worthwhile.
It is worth the view. I will say that the pictures at the top were stunning. They were so beautiful. So I recommend it. Again, if it's something that you're able to do, I absolutely recommend doing it. It was wonderful.
Great.
Is there anything else you want to share before we close our time here?
No, just that I hope that everyone is able to visit the lighthouses this year and see kind of the different offerings that we have. Again, we have that special in-depth tour, and we're also going to be piloting in the next couple months an audio tour for all 3 lights. So we have a lot of fun things happening, so just encourage everyone to come visit us.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Viewers, we are just so lucky to have these lighthouse gems, 3 of them here in our community, and we really want to support them, the lighthouses and the restoration work, so they can continue to be beautiful treasures that everyone can enjoy. So again, check out their website and also attend some of their events, and you won't be disappointed. I want to thank you for tuning into the Millcreek Government Channel, and until next time, have a great day.